Bartenders, what is the smoothest pickup line you've ever heard? I borrowed my friend's tiny backpack, put it on, and asked a woman at the bar, "Does this make my look fat?" It was literally the only time I've ever gotten a woman's phone number at a bar. Shy girl regularly comes in with her friend. My coworker and I are pretty chummy with them, so we are chatting all night, letting them try some of the new cocktails, shots our bar is trialing. We give them one particular shot, and the friend says she doesn't like it too much and asks if it's the kind of drink my girlfriend likes. I was single. Shy girl picks up her shot, downs it and says, "Yes, it is," then immediately runs out of the building in shyness. We've been dating almost 6 months now. Sort of an anti-pickup line, but I witnessed a drunk girl get deep-at the bar one night. She was hot, and one of those "haha, you're cute, you should buy me a drink" type girls. Some dumpy-looking dude walks up to the bar and orders a Corona, and she pulls the hole and put a rum and coke on there for me, insinuating that he should buy her next drink. He looked at her casually and says, "Make it a rum and diet," and then just walks away. I was speechless. I'd never seen him before and haven't seen him since. Sometimes I wonder if he ever existed at all. Saw a dude standing at the bar waiting to order drinks when it was his round and a Britney Spears song comes on. He just happily sings along and wiggles his hips, waiting to order drinks. Wasn't showing off or trying to be funny, just happily doing his thing. The chick next to him was staring the whole time laughing, and when he noticed, he just smiled and nodded and went right back to it. She took the bait, and that was that. I cocktail at a bowling alley. A group of high school kids were bowling one night. A bunch of them had class of 2017 shirts or hoodies on. I got off work and walked to the front desk to clock off. One of the boys from that group walks up behind me with a bowling ball in each hand and asks if I can do him a favor. I was caught off guard and it was a little random, but I was like, sure. So he motions with one bowling ball hand to his hoodie pocket and asks me to grab his phone out for him. And I'm a little skeptical, but I reach in with my pointer and thumb and grab it and set it on the counter for him and continue to clock out. But then the kid says, "Wait, can you unlock it for me?" So I do. And then he asks me to go to the phone. Dial. "Actually, will you go to the contacts? Now just put in your number for me." I feel so terrible. I'm pretty sure I did the poor kid, but I apologized and told him that I'm married. He was a cute boy, and 10 years ago, when I was just getting out of high school, that would totally have worked on me. Well, at least he had the balls to do it. Bartender server gear. Buzzed gentleman extends hand to slightly more buzzed woman and asks, "Will you hold this while I step outside?" They come back after sharing a cigarette. Pay the tab, take a cab together to wherever. Do you know that I give you money for uploading my videos to TikTok, and the one who gains the most views in a month gets an extra $1,000? More details on my Discord server, link in the comments. I once saw a girl go up to a fellow in a goth club and ask him if he washed his clothes in Windex. He's supposed to say no so she could say, "That's weird, 'cause I sure can see myself in your pants." Trouble was, he was wearing patent leather pants and excitedly answered yes. Aren't they shiny? Her line was ruined, but they left together anyway. Bartended in college. Guy walked up to a girl at the bar, goes, "Hi, my name is Ben, and I'm going to buy you drinks until you find me attractive." Girl smiled and laughed, and he asked what she would like to drink. She looked him over. He was already very attractive. Turned to me and said, "In that case, I'll have a water." He definitely got it that night. Well, I'm a bartender, and so far we're closing up, but if you want another drink, I live upstairs as work exactly 0% of the time. Do you actually live upstairs? Because if not, that might be what's holding you back. I work in a bar and restaurant in San Francisco, and these 2 Australian girls came in. One had a boyfriend, and she said, "I plan on getting so drunk that I get carried home tonight." And the single girl turned to me and said, "Maybe you could help me carry her?" I was in another country with friends, and I asked the waitress where the best bar in around was. When she started saying, "Oh, it depends on what you like," I asked her which one I'd likely find her at. My friends thought it was very smooth. I guess she did too. I work at a bar in Long Beach, NY, male. A female customer was giving me advice on how to hit on my bartender co-worker, female, who was a very close friend of mine. She kept feeding me adorable things to say to my friend because she thought we looked cute together. I thanked her and took one step toward my friend, then turned back to her and repeated it all back. She took the bait and it landed me back at her place. A coworker tried to start a game of tic-tac-toe with a pretty girl by drawing an empty board on a napkin and handing her the pen. She just wrote down her phone number. "Do you want the best loving of your life tonight?" "No." "Then I'm the guy for you." Dude comes up to the bar, points to a smoke, and asks me to get her a cup of ice water without telling her what it was and saying it was from him. She gets the drink, looks over at the guy, and they both smile at each other. Then she takes a sip and her face becomes full of utter confusion and letdown. Guy walks over, smiles, and says, "Just making sure you're staying hydrated." They both laugh and later on end up violently making out. Not exactly a pickup line, but really clever, cool way a girl let me know she was interested. I noticed her on the opposite side of the bar and we smiled at each other. I was newly single, she was with a date and obviously bored. Still, she was with a date and I'm not gonna interrupt and be that kind of bag. After a few minutes, I walked around her side of the bar to head to the bathroom. She stopped me and said, "Here, your pocket square is messed up." She fumbled with it a sec, said, "All good," and I moved on to the restroom. I got home later and took my blazer off, noticed something was off the pocket square. She had stealth stashed a napkin with her name and number. I texted that night and we went out later that week. A girl once bet that if she could fit an entire one of the cupcakes we sold in her mouth without using her hands, I would have to give it to her for free. She did and I did. I was so impressed, I got her a free drink too. 6 years later, we're still together eating cupcakes and crap. There was a new bartender who had just started at the local ale house, just an absolutely stunning girl. When I ordered, she kindly asked for my ID. One of the other bartenders waved her off and the interaction unfolded like so. "Oh, he's a regular, you don't need to card him." New girl, "Oh, I would just feel better if I did." Me, "It's cool if you want to know my address. It's not far from here." Cue the blushing 10 on 10 smoothest I've ever been. I'm a bartender. Met my girlfriend when she asked me for 2 shots of a tequila and Tabasco base shot and then said that one is for you. I still think she's very cool. I'm not a bartender, but I witnessed this line this weekend and I thought it was fantastic. After this girl had turned down some pretty good-looking fellow, this other guy walks up to the bar like he's going to order a drink and just casually says, "Man, he's definitely taller than me, so I sure hope I can make you laugh." Didn't watch the whole thing unfold, but they were still chatting when I left. Not while I was at work, but was on a late train once and watched a tipsy woman chat a guy into getting off the next stop to go to a pub that had a jazz band on tonight. I know the pub she named and I know full well there was no jazz band on that night. That lady was hot and that guy was super lucky. Or maybe she murder-route him. I bartend in a pub next to a college campus. I watched a guy say "That's interesting" or "Oh man, that's crazy" for a full hour and a half before leaving with a girl way out of his league. I met my current girlfriend while working behind a bar. She got way too drunk, so the next time she came up to order a drink, I gave her a pint of water and told her she had enough. Her response? "Well, if you're not going to give me a drink, at least give me your number. We have a dog now." Bartender here. Best pickup I've ever seen was when a group of 3 dudes college age were at the bar on my end. They started talking about this girl on the other side who was clearly the hottest girl in the bar. One of them jokingly said to another, "If you can get her number without saying a word to her, I'll buy you drinks the rest of the night." The kid who was dared waved me down, asked for a pen and napkin. He walked over and within Loman came back over girl in hand asking his buddy who bet him for 2 patron shots. I asked him what he did and he showed me the napkin with her number. He played hangman on the napkin and spelt out, "Can I have your number?" And it actually worked. He and his girl were drinking heavily and for free the rest of the night. He also walked out with her, so I hope he scored. I am not a bartender, but I saw this happen at a bar. I was sitting at a table with 2 of my friends, 1 girl, 1 guy. Some guy I had never seen before comes over, places 3 beers, 1 in front of each of us, and proceeds to start talking to my female friend. I assumed it was just one of her friends I had never met. It took me a solid 5 minutes to figure out this guy was a stranger, and then I was blown away with how smooth of a move that was. Not so much a pickup line, but I bartended a big college bar, and when you wordlessly hand your friend a beer when the bar is swamped and he just got there, it makes him look that much cooler to whatever girl he's talking to. My first month of bartending, I had a girl quickly finish 2 Cosmos. I came up and asked her how she was doing. "I have another one, but you have to take me home." Her group of friends got a nice laugh when I blushed. Not a bartender, but tried this line at the bar. Very pretty girl standing at the bar, and I walked up to her and said, "Can I buy you a drink or do you just want the money?" She took the drink. 5 years later, she took everything else I had. Not a bartender, but was at a bar with 3 friends a few years ago, and one of the waitresses was deaf. We watched a guy go up to her, sign some stuff to her. She smiled and excitedly wrote something down, handed it to him, and walked away. He walked by us, showed us the number, and said 4 years of sign language in high school finally paid off for once. Heard this one while closing down a couple weeks back. "Come on, let's go back to my place. I'll make you a quesadilla." This girl had been swatting guys away like flies all night, but that one worked out. Not a bartender, but hooked up with one once. It was closing time and she said, "If you don't work here or staff, time to leave." I leaned over and said, "I guess I'm staying." with the confidence only a recently divorced man could have. It worked, oddly enough. Not a good pickup line, but a good pickup line story. There's a classic, which is putting an ice cube on the bar, smashing it with your fist and saying, "That's the ice broken, want to get a drink?" Well, an awkward friend of mine decided to try it, smashed the ice, and managed to ricochet a piece of it into his own eye before being able to say the line, shouted a profanity, and staggered off. The girl was pretty confused. "Do you want to come over and see my ceiling while I make excuses for 30 minutes? I saw a drinking guy sit next to a woman at the bar and say, "You mind if I sit here and hit on you for a while?" That's my go-to pickup line other than Taco Bell hot sauce sayings. I once was flirting with a bartender, real cute blonde. I had her chatting with me. When she then asked if I had a girlfriend, I said, "No, I don't, but if I did, it would be this girl. Would you like to see her photo?" She said, "Yeah, sure," so I put my phone into camera mode with the front camera on and gave her the phone. She looked at it and saw herself and let out a chuckle as she blushed. I met my girlfriend working at a bar. The dress code was terrible, all black with white suspenders and a white bow tie. She was a patron and was wearing an adorable dress with a bow in her hair. The music was super loud, EDM nightclub, so I just pointed to her hair and wiggled my bow tie and winked. About 20 minutes later, I get her phone number. We've been together for almost 4 years. Not a pickup line, but the smoothest thing I've seen from behind the mahogany. This guy was hating this girl at the end of the bar. She asked him, "You gonna bring me some roses?" And this man took 2 straws, a napkin, and a lighter, and I do not made a rose with it. You bet your ass she left with him. Kudos, sir. Like a MacGyver. I bartended a spa. I've seen pickups happen with no words, just eye contact and apparent telepathy. They're so gay their gaydar has text messaging. If you haven't watched my other videos, then be sure to watch this one. I bet it will amaze you. Or you can watch all our videos in a row in this playlist. Write your stories in the comments, subscribe, turn on the bell, and go to our Discord. There we give you money for uploading our videos to TikTok. You uploaded, you gain views, you got money. Link in the comments.